obsession, and someone that you can't live without. If you don't start with that, what are you going to end up with? Fall head over heels. I say find someone that you can love like crazy who will love you the same way back. And how do you find this one? Forget your head and listen to your heart. I'm not hearing any heart. Run the risk. If you get hurt, you'll come back. Because the truth is, no sense in living your life without this. To make the journey and not fall deeply in love, well, then you haven't lived at all. You have to try, because if we haven't tried, you haven't lived.
Wow.
And now our second reading is from the Bible. This is Alicia Hernandez, the groom's older sister.
El Señor Dios se dijo: no es bueno que el hombre esté solo, voy a hacerle a alguien como él, que le ayude. Entonces el Señor Dios modeló de la tierra todas las bestias del campo y todos los pájaros del cielo, y se los presentó a Adán para ver qué nombre les ponía. Y cada ser vivo llevaría el nombre que Adán le pusiera. Así Adán puso nombre a todos los ganados, a los pájaros del cielo y a las bestias del campo. Entonces el Señor Dios hizo caer un letargo sobre Adán, que se durmió. Le sacó una costilla y le cerró el sitio con carne. Y el Señor Dios formó de la costilla que había sacado de Adán una mujer y se la presentó a Adán. Adán dijo: esta sí que es hueso de mis huesos y carne de mi carne. Su nombre será mujer, porque ha salido del varón. Por eso abandonará el varón a su padre y a su madre, se unirá a su mujer y serán los dos una sola carne.
Bravo.
Gracias. Al final, hoy es el día de la boda. La pareja sabe que yo no hablo bien el español. Hace un pocos años yo no podría hablar ninguna palabra de español, solamente las comidas a la ventanilla de Taco Bell. Pero Ricky Martin canta una canción donde él canta un pasito para adelante, un pasito para atrás. Entonces poco a poco, paso a paso, estoy tratando de aprenderlo. But I want to speak to both of you today in English, so I can speak from my heart. Because you guys did not plan to be married in the middle of a global pandemic. It's not what you imagined. And I want to remind all of you that Jimena and Gabriel are not making a commitment today. We all know that commitments are made in private moments with just the two of you, when you decided you wanted to spend the rest of your lives together. And even your romantic engagement was not a commitment, because by that time you'd already made a commitment in your heart. But tonight you're going to say publicly what you've already said privately, and ask your family and friends to say a little prayer for you as you receive the blessing of the church on your life together. Now, I told the couple I'm 64 years old, and I've been a priest for 36 years. And I can tell you that here at the Spanish monastery, we know that half of all the couples today meet online. eHarmony, Match.com, Christian Mingle, Bumble is getting popular now, Plenty of Fish for the people who are cheap, and yes, Tinder. And you see, couples use dating apps because they often know what they want. And they're searching for someone who's going to meet their criteria. And it makes sense, because if you're allergic to cats, you can just swipe left. But not you guys. That's not how you met. You're old school, the old-fashioned way, in person. And 5 years ago, in 2016, you went with friends to the Latin Club, and you went with some of your friends to the Latin Club. And some of your friends knew each other. But you guys hit it off. And Gabrielle, you asked her to go to a concert a week later. Goo Goo Dolls and Collective Soul. And that night could only be described as a failed date. The conversation was awkward. Trying to order dinner was painful. Do you like, oh, I don't like that. No. Everything went wrong. But even with all that, here we are. Some things are just meant to be. And Gabrielle, you planned a romantic getaway trip to get engaged. You had all the details worked out. And then COVID shut the world down. And your heirloom family ring was trapped inside of a closed jewelry store in Mississippi. Nobody was there, knocking on the door, calling. There was no way to get a hold of anybody. But still, here you are. Now, the two of you could have been married anywhere. You've been on some pretty swell trips together. Just here in the country, Chicago, California. They went on a trip to Nashville, and her father told him, he said, look, you can take her, but just remember, there's no returns. And you've traveled to Panama, and to Peru, and to France. And because of COVID, you don't even know if you're going to get your visa. You can get out of the country, but you might not be able to get back. So it may be Mexico, months or a year later. Again, some things are just meant to be. Now, those are all places where you've been that would have been wonderful, romantic spots for a destination wedding or even an elopement. But you have chosen to be married here. And this is a sacred place, a place that's steeped in history. I think you all know that this building came from Spain. It was built in the 12th century in the year 1133 in the province of Segovia. And William Randolph Hearst brought it here to the United States. 35,000 stones, some of them weigh a ton and a half. And for 900 years, this has been a place where people bring their dead to mourn and grieve over them before they're buried. It's a place where they bring their babies and their small children to baptize them and dedicate them to God. It's here, right up here in front, that all of our kids receive their first Holy Communion, and the bishop lays hands on our teenagers when they get confirmation. And because it's Miami, all of my quinceañeras sit in a big fancy chair as their madrinas and their abuelas bring the tiara and all of their earrings for their quince. We always say, after all these centuries, if these walls could talk, what kind of secrets and stories that they could tell. But more important than a pretty place, a sacred place, a historical place, are the people that you have with you tonight, your family and friends. Now, we all know that you could have had many more guests here, from school, from work, where you live, or other parts of your lives. But you're here with the people who matter most to you, the people that you love and care about. And because of COVID, there are a few who, because of distance and COVID restrictions, are unable to be with you. But you have your family and friends here to hope with you, to support you, and to remind you that love is not just one moment. It's all kinds of moments. It's those big moments where you say, I love you, you get engaged, but mostly it's a million little ones that come between those big moments. It's moving in together. It's falling asleep next to each other. It's preparing meals together. It's you, Gabrielle, after 5 years, you still open the car door for her every time, if it's just to the drugstore. It's the two of you playing with your dog, Corey. Now, the two of you fell in love by chance, but you're here today because you're making a choice. You're both choosing each other. You've chosen to be with someone, you told me, who makes you better, who makes you think, and who makes you laugh. So look at each other now and join hands, and remember this moment in time. Because before this moment, you've been many things to each other. Casual acquaintances, then friends, lovers, dancing partner, and even teacher, because you've learned a lot from each other in these last 5 years. And there's still lots to learn. I mean, you still don't even know her cell number. But now you're going to say a few words that take you across the threshold of life, and things are never going to quite be the same between you. Because after these vows, you'll say to the world, this is my husband, this is my wife. So now, if you repeat after me. En el nombre de Dios, yo, Jimena, te recibo a ti, Gabriel Antonio, para ser mi esposo. Desde hoy en adelante, para tenerte y conservarte en las alegrías y en las penas, en la riqueza y en la pobreza, en la salud y en la enfermedad, para amarte y cuidarte hasta que la muerte nos separe. Este es mi voto solemne. If you'll repeat after me, Gabriel. In the name of God,
In the name of God,
I, Gabriel Antonio,
I, Gabriel Antonio,
take you, Jimena, to be my wife,
take you, Jimena, to be my wife,
to have and to hold
all
from this day forward,
for this day forward,
for better, for worse,
for better or worse,
for richer, for poor,
for richer, for poor,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
to love and to cherish,
to love and cherish,
until we are parted by death.
until we are part of our death.
This is my solemn vow.
This is my solemn vow.
And Joaquin?
Joaquin?
May I have the rings?
Joaquín, security. Security.
Necesitamos apoyo. Bendice, Señor, estos anillos para que sean signos de los votos por los cuales este hombre y esta mujer se han unido el uno al otro por Jesucristo nuestro Señor.
Amén.
Thank you, son. You can go be seated. Gracias. Puede sentarse.
No, se apaga la...
Gabriel, you'll repeat after me. Jimena, I give you this ring
Jimena, I give you this ring
as a symbol of my vow,
as a symbol of my vow,
and with all that I am
with all that I am
and all that I have,
and all that I have.
I cherish you.
I cherish you.
And now if you repeat, place that on his ring, you repeat after me. Gabriel Antonio, te doy este anillo como símbolo de mis votos y con todo lo que soy y con todo lo que tengo. Yo te honro. En este momento me gustaría que las madres vengan a encender velas para la vela de la unidad. Y oremos juntos con las palabras que nuestro Salvador nos enseñó. Padre nuestro, que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga tu reino, hágase tu voluntad en la tierra como en el cielo. Danos hoy nuestro pan de cada día. Perdona nuestras ofensas, como también nosotros perdonamos a los que nos ofenden. No nos dejes caer en tentación y líbranos del mal, porque tuyo es el reino, tuyo es el poder y tuya es la gloria, ahora y por siempre. Amén.
Amén.
And now that Gabriel, Antonio, and Jimena have given themselves to each other with the giving and receiving of rings and the joining of hands, I pronounce that they are husband and wife in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Those whom God joins together, let no one separate. You may kiss your bride, young man. Yeah.